Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about Trump 2024. Okay, um, I'm going to tell you guys why I think he's going to run and why I think he's probably the best candidate for us. Um, and before I get into that, at first I want to start off by saying that I did not think Trump was going to win in 2016. I didn't even think he would win the Republican primary. Simply, I didn't think he even took running seriously. Right? I thought he was kind of doing it just for shits and giggles. Um, it wasn't until he won the Republican primary that I even started looking at him, right, and actually listening to some of the stuff that he was saying. And at that point, when he was running against Hillary, I'm like, yeah, obviously, I'd rather have him compared to Hillary. I did not think that he would beat Hillary. I didn't think that enough people would take him, even though I was agreeing with most of the stuff that he was saying, right? Um, I did not think that people would just take him seriously enough. And I think the moderates, because it's really it's really the independents in the middle, right? They're the ones that really determine the outcome of elections. I didn't think that the independents would take him seriously. If he had just gone in as a businessman, I think they might have taken him seriously. But because he had, he had done, I think, a couple of years as a TV show host. For that reason, I didn't think they would take him seriously. So, to my surprise, he beat Hillary, which again surprised me. Okay, now Trump pissed me off pretty quickly by trying to sell off federal forests. Okay, because when Trump sees a forest like this, to him, this is undeveloped land. Okay, he sees a forest like this, and he's thinking this would be a good place to put one of his resorts, or a good place to put a golf course. Okay, to me, that's all garbage. Okay, to me, I look at this. This is the treasure. Okay, the forests are the treasure. I don't even want to be. I mean, you guys know that I shoot all the time. I don't want to be on a commercial shooting range. Okay, I don't go to a commercial shooting range unless I have to be there to train somebody. Okay, if I'm shooting for myself, I want to be out in the woods in nature shooting. Okay, now the other thing that Trump did that really pissed me off was the bump stock ban. Really got upset. I mean, at that point, I was thinking, and I didn't even have a bump stock. I've done videos on bump firing without a bump stock, right? I did that specifically as a result of him trying to ban the bump stocks, or telling the ATF to ban the bump stocks. I started making videos teaching people how to bump fire without a bump stock. Okay, that's how pissed off I was at him. Okay, that I went out of my way to teach people how to bump fire without a bump stock. Just to spite him. Okay, so that all said, right? Why do I want Trump to win now and become president in 2024? Well, I see Trump, okay, as the most persecuted man in America. Okay, he would be going into his next presidency, right, into his second presidency, with a completely different perspective than when he went into his presidency the first time. Okay, the first time going into the presidency, when he looked at these bureaucracies, right, like the FBI, CIA, the military leadership, right, when he looked at these bureaucracies, right, especially the law enforcement ones, because he was like a big law enforcement guy, but he saw them as being run by good people with a few bad apples in there. Okay, when the reverse is true, they're mostly being run by bad people, right, with maybe a few good apples in there. And the problem is that the bigger problem here is that these bureaucracies have become a social class unto themselves, right? The way the FBI, CIA, military leadership look at themselves, it's like it's them, okay, versus everybody else, okay, so they're a political class unto themselves. Trump did not have that perspective. He thought that these were, in fact, civil servants, working for government for the benefit of the people. When that's absolutely not true, I think he realizes that they're only working for their own benefits. So I think that having a chance to think about all this, right, and that's important because if he had gone straight from his first 4 years, right, straight into his second 4 years, right, he would not have had time, I think, to change his perspective. He wouldn't have had a reason to change his perspective. because here's the thing: as president, you're always really busy. People are constantly throwing information at you. You really don't get a chance as president, or for that matter, if you're working any highly stressful job, right? I worked as a chief financial officer for many years, right? While you're doing the job, you don't get a chance to really step back and see the big picture because you're just always in there working. So, as president, while he was president, uh, I don't think he was able to step back and see what was happening on the large scale. The attitude that the attitude and the perspectives that he had going in are the ones that stayed with him the entire 4 years, and that was that attitude that, hey, FBI, mostly good people with just a few bad apples in there. Right now, having been out of office 1 year, right? I think without being president, I think he's had a chance to step back and say, hey, these bureaucracies are just bad. Okay, they're actually working against the people. They're working against liberty, and I think his goal, okay, would be to destroy those bureaucracies, right? To destroy the current structure of those bureaucracies. Now, I don't think he's going to completely want to destroy the FBI, but I think that he's going to want to completely restructure that, completely rip out the leadership, put in an entirely different leadership in there, maybe rotate the people in such a way that they're not working for their own benefits, okay? That they're actually working for the benefit of the people. So that perspective is the perspective that Trump has as the most persecuted man in America is the reason why I want him to be to be the next president, right? To be elected president in 2024. Okay, and again, I'm coming at this from the position of having really disliked Trump for trying to sell the forests, right? And also really furious about the bump stock ban. Okay, now why? The thing is, okay. So what if I think that he should be president? Does he want to be president, right? And the answer to that is yes. And the indications of that is he started a social media platform, Getter. Okay, so basically he wanted a way to directly talk to the people that completely bypassed the other established social media. So that's a big indication that he's going to run for president. The fact that he actually went ahead and started this social media platform. Okay, he's doing rallies. Okay, that's also a big indication that he's planning to run for president. Okay, and he's also talking with Lindsey Graham. Okay, he's doing a lot of talking with him. Lindsey Graham was one of those guys that was sometimes against him, but at the same time could talk with him. And they could kind of find common ground. So he served kind of that role throughout Trump's presidency. And right now, I see him as the point man, right? As kind of like almost a mediator between Trump and the rest of the Republicans. Okay, I think Lindsey Graham is serving that purpose. As of today, this morning, I heard that Lindsey Graham had a meeting with Trump. So so that's fact. Okay, Graham is talking to Trump. Why would Graham be talking to Trump? There's no reason for him to talk to Trump unless Trump was planning to run for president in 2024. Okay. Now, why do I think that Trump has let's put it this way? Why is Trump the best candidate that Republicans would have to offer? Okay? There's a lot of good potential candidates out there. The governor from Florida, DeSantis, it would be a good choice. Somebody that stands out that people are aware of. The other governor in Texas is also possibly a good choice. Cruz, a good choice. But why Trump? Okay. First of all, lots of people think that Trump was cheated out of his second term. Okay, so there's a lot of people that had that attitude that, hey, this man was robbed. Give him back what's due to him. Okay, so that's one reason. Okay, but the thing is, he has an established base like nobody else. There's nobody else out there, Republican or Democrat, that has the base that Trump has, that has the following. Okay, so that's a reason why the Republicans, right? Because I'm looking at this from the perspective of why would the Republicans, vote for him? And I'm talking about we're talking about the primaries here. Why would the hardcore established Republicans want to vote for him. Well, here's the thing. Um, Picking Trump, right, who's basically the front runner at this point, would cut down on a lot of infighting between Republicans, right? Because if you have a whole bunch of Republicans trying to, trying to um, take the primary, right, to win the primary, they're basically tearing into each other. One's trying to beat the other. Okay, I think if Trump decides that he's going to run, I think everybody else is going to back off. Okay, and what that does is that during the primary season, whoever comes out of the primary season doesn't come out damaged. Okay, because the problem is that during the primary season, you got all these politicians within the same party fighting against each other. They essentially damage each other, right? Each one is trying to say why the other one's bad and why they're the good one. So that would cut that out. Now, on the other hand, on the Democrats, right? Even though they've got Biden, all right, as the incumbent president right now, a lot of them don't want Biden to run again. A lot of them want Biden to disappear, want Kamala to disappear. So for the Democrats going into the next election, who they want as president, right, to run for president and vice president is actually more questionable. Okay, so in a way, it's like Trump is starting off from a stronger position than Biden and Kamala or whoever else the Democrats decide to bring forth. Okay, now if the Republicans bring forth somebody other than Trump, now they're kind of starting off in a weaker position, right? Than Biden and Harris, right? Because now they gotta basically fight each other. Okay, so that's the other reason. And the other point worth bringing up is at this point, right after 1 year of Biden, most establishment Republicans have come to accept that, hey, you know what, Trump was a pretty good president. Now, while he was president was one thing, they were critical of him, but now looking back and having somebody to compare him to, right? They can see his policies, see how they work. They can see what Biden did and how his policies are working. So Republicans, established Republicans, looking back onto President Trump's 4 years, they have a completely different perspective than they had while he was president, and that's true of all presidents. Reagan. While Reagan was president, a lot of Republicans, were critical of him. While the Bushes were president, a lot of Republicans were sometimes critical of them. So after you come out of office, people look at you a little bit differently. They judge your presidency from a historical perspective. So Trump has that advantage. Trump has the advantage of Republicans now looking back at his presidency and judging it historically. Okay, so those are the reasons why I think that the reasons why I think Trump will run for president in 2024, and the most important, the reason why I think that he should be president, and that is because he is the most persecuted man in America. Okay, so thanks for watching. Drop your comments below, and hey, don't worry about hurting my feelings. If you disagree with me, you disagree with me. Cool, just tell me why. We'll have a little discussion about that. That's what it's all about. By no means am I here to tell you that my way is the one and only way, the 100% correct way. So give me your opinions, whether you agree or you disagree. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notifications. I'll talk to you all soon.